Oh. Come on in.
A municipal worker who oversees subsidized housing units for seniors asked that a counselor from the Department of Social Services Adult Protection Division meet with Martha, a 75-year-old woman living on her own. When the counselor, Wanda, arrived the first time, Martha's apartment showed signs of physical damage, with several pieces of broken furniture. Martha herself had multiple bruises on her legs. During their first meeting together, Martha told Wanda that Lenny, Martha's 49-year-old son, has been physically and financially abusing her. The case vignette has 3 sessions. They take place at Martha's kitchen table. The first 2 sessions take place a week apart. For the third session, Wanda invites Martha's pastor to join them.
You're living in a lovely neighborhood here, and you know the setup here is that you have people close by. Is there anyone at all that has shown some friendliness towards you, or have you gotten to know many of your neighbors?
Well, it is one lady that she lived next door. Her name is Violet, but I never asked her anything. I spoke to her and she spoke back. She seemed like she's pretty good, nice, but
So can you imagine approaching Violet and having a conversation with her?
I look out the window and see her, but when she see me, I jump back. But maybe I will take her. Maybe I will go. I will speak to her, have a talk with her.
Is that something that you've done before in the past?
Well, when I was talking to people more, I used to speak to people, but Lenny told me to, don't tell them our business.
Ah,
And
I see. So it's interesting though, because this loneliness that you're experiencing is probably also a factor in how safe you're feeling or how safe you're not feeling. So do you think if Lenny were to know that there were more people coming around, that he might be thinking about that, you know, with respect to how he's treating you?
I think maybe you could be a little right. I don't know. Because when I told him that the woman had looked at me, he told me that don't bother with those people. They're looking for news. They all nosy.
Right.
So, but when you called me and told me you were going to come, I told Lenny about it. Oh, it was a big argument. It was an argument. He wanted to hit me. And he went out and slammed the door and said he wasn't coming back. But I don't think so. He'll come back again. He'll come back. He told me he didn't. I should let people stay out of his business. Stay out of business. Don't let nobody in.
That was very difficult for you then, because you shared with him, because you were trusting him, because he's your son after all. So you wanted to let him know that there was a counselor going to come by, but he didn't like hearing that. Yeah. Martha, are you concerned about your safety now then?
Yes, I am, because the way he was, he flared up. He was really mad. He was throwing things, throwing the chairs. He was throwing things at me. He even hit me, you know. He hit me. He hit me, but I shouldn't be telling you that, should I? I shouldn't be telling you, but don't tell him.
I think it's a good thing for you to tell me this, Martha.
Well, can you give me some help? Can you help me, or are you just here to find out me and Lenny's business, or are you going to be a help to me? You said you would give me some help, but Lenny wouldn't like that. But if you're going to help me, you can't tell Lenny, because Lenny will, he hits me, he takes my money, and he come in anytime he want to, and I don't want that. So if you can help me, you can't tell him, because he may come back and beat me, and I don't want that. I'm afraid of him. Please help me.
Martha, first of all, I'm really sorry. I'm very sorry about how Lenny is treating you. And, you know, your safety is a real priority, okay? And so that's the very thing that I'm going to be helping you with. And I know you're also concerned about me speaking with Lenny, but I need you to know that I would never talk to Lenny or any other person about you without your permission first. So if I thought there was someone that we should speak to, then I would ask you first, okay? Martha, you said that Lenny comes and goes as he wants. I mean, what's that like for you?
He come in when he want to, because I trust him at first, and I gave him a key because he was staying with me. And when I asked him back for the key, he said no. So I wouldn't dare ask him. I'm afraid of him. I'm scared.
You said that Lenny comes and goes as he pleases. You know, I think that's a bit of a problem that we're going to have to do something about. Martha, you know George, and one of the things that we can do is have him come in and change the locks. And I think that would probably be an important next step. What do you think about that?
You can do that?
Absolutely. That's part of the many things that George takes care of in these properties here. And that's just a matter of me making a phone call and asking him to do that.
Well, I will feel I'll feel secure, but if that can keep Lenny out, because I don't want him to go to jail. I want nothing to happen to him. But please protect me, because I don't go nowhere. I don't have nobody,
Okay.
and I'm lonely. But
yeah.
But he's my son. I love him.
What ideas do you have about how do you keep, or how to keep loneliness away?
I like to see the pastor. I like to see somebody, but and
So, Martha, that's something that you would be comfortable with me doing then is connecting with your pastor and maybe even inviting him to come meet with us.
I think that'd be nice. I appreciate it. Please do something. I don't want Lenny to come in my home when I'm not home, and I don't want him to come take anything, because he come in. He don't live here no more, so he's not supposed to be here.
Right. I certainly understand your concern about that, Martha. One of the things that we had talked about was George was going to have the locks changed on your place. And so I think that was supposed to have happened like in the past week. Did he come by to do that?
I forgot that. Yes, that's right too. He did come by.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He came back, and when he come in to do it, he told me he changed it, but I didn't know if he changed it or not. I didn't. But that's right too. Now it's coming. I'm remembering it, that what did happen.
Right. Okay. So does that make you feel a little more at ease? Because I know your concern is about Lenny coming by because he had a key before, but he can't get in now because the lock is changed.
So maybe I want to go out, because I've been inside for so long.
Yeah.
I miss everybody.
I'm not familiar with your church, but I am really interested in understanding a lot more about it. I'm especially interested in knowing what the church has meant in your life.
As a child, all through the week, you think you're playing and carrying on. But on Sunday morning, you have your breakfast, you get dressed in your best, and you go off to church with. Go up to church with your mother and your grandparents. You're walking down the road and you see, because those days we didn't have no streets. We had roads. Walk down the road and you go to your church. And you get to the door, you hear the singing. You walk in because you want to see who's in there. And you're a child, but you go and sit down, and the people are friendly. They make you happy when you walk into the church. When you leave church, you come up with a different feeling. You feel happy because you go into church and everybody is praising God and feeling good, and it makes you feel you're revived.
What would the church have to say about what you should do with Lenny, or how to manage the situation with Lenny?
Oh, well, the pastor and the elders, they would. Yeah, I would like to, like myself or you, to ask the pastor that could he have a prayers with Lenny, or we'll pray for him, and maybe Lenny will come to church, because like the pastor always says, come as you are. Because you don't come in the church when you're already fixed. You come brokenhearted.
We spoke briefly on the phone, and there are a few things that I thought would be important for us to cover in our meeting today. So I have my notes with me. And so, of course, I think it's important for us to talk first about finding a way to reconnect Martha with the church again, because Pastor Armstrong, one of the things that I have learned in my conversation with Martha is that she has had quite a history with the church, and it has had a lot of meaning for her through her whole life. And I think the second thing that we need to talk about is how you might play a role in providing counseling services for Martha, and what that might look like. And I think the third thing that I think we need to pay some attention to is Lenny, and how there might be some way of kind of reaching out and connecting with Lenny, because I know Martha has had a lot of concerns about Lenny in recent years. Pastor Armstrong, I'm thinking in particular about reconnecting Martha with the church. She hasn't been there for a couple of years, so she's feeling like she kind of doesn't know how to make that step forward.
I think what you're doing right now, though, Wanda, is an awesome thing. We can tag team, or if you'd like to pass her on to me, I'd be more than happy to help with that. The second issue is what do we do with someone who's over 45? Does our church have anything for her? And there's so many openings there for us at our local congregation. We have a fit, fabulous, and over 50 group. They meet every Thursday. We have the Women's Auxiliary that they meet once a month. Martha, I truly believe that the church has a lot to offer for you. And Wanda, concerning Lenny, our men's outreach is awesome. What we probably want to do is not so much just bring him into church, but to build up relationship. Our men will reach out for him. Really, our men's group are great. And what we're trying to push this year is discipleship through relationship. So we'll just build up relationships first. We don't have to force him to come to church. Go out for coffee, go bowling, go fishing. Get him to do some activities that would be fun again.
And so we need to think about, as I said, a few practical things like transportation, you getting there, how would that work, and what that's going to feel like for you walking in the doors for the first time.
If you would mention to the congregation that I'm coming back, and they would, that way when I come back, I wouldn't feel like I just walked into somewhere and I feel that. And also, if you would be there when I did come back to help me come in, and I wouldn't feel like I'm
a stranger. You're not a stranger, and you won't feel all alone. If you need a ride, if you want anything, call. We're here for you, and we'll work in partnership with your worker.
I just wonder kind of what you have found to be helpful in situations like this before.
One of our sayings at our church is, no perfect person is allowed. I truly believe that once Martha comes out, she'll realize she's really not isolated, and her story is not just for her. Once she comes around, she's going to realize she's not alone. A lot of people with isolation think they're the only ones going through that. Nobody has a problem like my son. Nobody has the lack of education that I have. Nobody has a lack of funds that I have. Nobody understands what I'm going through.
I know you've had a lot of concerns about Lenny, and you've heard from Pastor Armstrong some of the things that he suggested that he could do with respect to reaching out to Lenny. Are you comfortable with some of those ideas? What are your thoughts about that?
Yes, I am. But, Pastor, I'd wish first that you would explain to Lenny that I'm not trying to get into his life or hurt him.
That's what we're here for. Not to separate the family, but to unite the family.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Pastor. And because Lenny, he went through a lot.
Yes.
I went through a lot. But I want to be whole again. I don't need to be talking to the wall anymore. I want to be with family and friends and unite with people.
You're on the right track. You really are.